Chris Mikowski for Emerging Civil War, and I'm joined this morning by Andrew Dalton of the Adams County Historical Society in Gettysburg, Pennsylvania. Andrew is the executive director there. Andrew, good morning.
Good morning. Thanks for having me, Chris.
Delighted to have you with us here at Emerging Civil War, and we've brought you on because you have some pretty cool news to share. What's going on?
Yes, so for those of you who are familiar with the Historical Society, and maybe some of you are not, we're in Gettysburg, Pennsylvania, and we are preserving the memory bank of the community. Over 1 million historic items, an incredible depth of topics, all the way back to Native Americans and early settlement of our area, but of course with a heavy emphasis on the Civil War period and the incredible roles that civilians played during the 3 days in July of 1863 and beyond that. So we are building a new facility in Gettysburg. It'll be an attraction for you to come and visit, probably opening in 2022. But the big news is we've launched our capital campaign to fund this project, and we're already significantly toward our goal. It's going to be about $5.5 million, but we're very lucky to have nearly at this point $4 million of that 5.5. So it's a very exciting project, and I really appreciate the chance to tell you more about what this new facility is going to be and how you might be able to get involved.
Now, I'm a writer, so nobody said there'd be math involved, but let me do this real quick. You need 5.5, you've got 4. That suggests to me that you need about $1.5 million from people who are watching this video and other people in the historical community.
That's right. Yeah, we really need help to get across the finish line because this is really important. You know, our current facility is not ideal for our collection. In fact, we only have a portion of it in our headquarters. We have out at a storage warehouse, 22 crates filled with artifacts, rare Gettysburg and Adams County artifacts that have not seen the light of day for about a decade. And so, you know, getting all these materials into a safe and proper home is essential, really, to not just our community, but to the millions of people out there who love Gettysburg and appreciate the preservation of its history. You know, our current facility, unfortunately, has no fire protection, no humidity or climate controls whatsoever. And so this really is a serious issue that we're facing, and we're lucky to be so far along and have some exciting plans to address these problems.
Now, one of the things that people think about when they think about Gettysburg, obviously the national battlefield, national, international in scope. But what you guys do at the Adams County Historical Society, I think is a vital part of the Gettysburg story because, as you've said before, the story of Gettysburg is more than 3 days in July of 1863. And you guys at the Historical Society tell that larger story. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Right. Yeah, sure. I mean, it is interesting. So obviously the Battle of Gettysburg was the watershed moment in our history as a community. But there is so much more. You go back centuries before the Battle of Gettysburg even. We have thousands of years where Native Americans, you know, roamed the land here that became Adams County. And we have over 10,000 projectiles and other artifacts left behind by these early peoples. We actually have even further back, if you go back millions of years, we have dinosaur footprints that were made in a rock in northern Adams County. And so we're going to actually start our exhibit gallery with those dinosaur footprints and a chunk of meteorite that fell near Gettysburg that's actually even older than that. It's billions of years old. So, you know, there's an incredible history that goes way back, even to prehistoric times. Now, before the Civil War, of course, the Underground Railroad was a major theme here in Adams County. We're right on the border of the Mason-Dixon line. And Thaddeus Stevens, a famous attorney and abolitionist, began his legal career in Gettysburg. So we're going to do exhibits and other programs related to Thaddeus Stevens. And so it's true, there's so much. And then, you know, of course, after the Battle of Gettysburg, how did this community get from a devastated town that had been, you know, inundated by, you know, wounded and dead? How did that turn into the Gettysburg we know today, which is a thriving tourist mecca? And not a lot of other towns had that commercial success and the type of, you know, constant visitation and attention that Gettysburg's had. And so we want to tell all these stories, you know, how Gettysburg developed into the community that would become the scene of such an important battle and the most famous speech in American history, arguably, and then how that town then developed and took on the mantle of being a place for people to come and remember and reflect on their history.
So walk us through some of the plans that you guys have for this new facility. I understand you've got some bells and whistles to share with us with a PowerPoint. So
Yeah,
I'll give you a second to get that set up
sure.
and kind of walk us through what's going on.
Absolutely. Well, first, I just wanted to start out by showing a couple artifacts. I know we can't actually walk through the building right now and show you, unfortunately, but this is the next best thing. So here are a couple items that I wanted to point out. Of course, we have an impressive collection of artifacts collected off the fields of off the battlefield. These are incredible relics because they're not metal detected relics from 20, 30 years ago. They're not even from 40 or 50 years ago. These are actual items that were picked up within days and weeks of the battle, and then eventually turned over to us. Now, the Historical Society has been around since 1888, so we've been collecting from the very individuals who were there and witnessed the battle. So some of these relics and photographs we have, for instance, here's a photograph of Sally Myers, who was a 21-year-old nurse who lived on High Street in Gettysburg during the battle. This is an original ambrotype of her taken around the time of the Civil War. And, this was donated to us by her son. So our collection has incredible provenance, and it's connected so closely to the actual individuals who witnessed these incredible events. So I want to show a couple photographs. This is another example of the depth of our earlier history. On the left is a fire bucket. This was used to extinguish fires in the town of Gettysburg circa 1800. So before there was a fire department, there was a bucket brigade, and everybody ran with their buckets to the nearest fire, which was really more of a social event than it was an emergency. It was kind of a chance for everybody to sit out on their front stoop and watch a house burn. So we have an example of one of those early items. And then on the right here, these are some projectiles from our extremely interesting collection of prehistoric items from the Native American peoples that lived here in our area. So people forget, before the town of Gettysburg, it was just a forest, and the creeks that we know well today, like Marsh Creek and Rock Creek and Willoughby's Run, were there, but they were the scene of fishing and hunting camps of the early Native American peoples that populated this area for thousands of years prior to European settlement. During the Battle of Gettysburg, if we fast forward a few thousand years, these are two items I think are really incredible from our Civil War era collection. On the left is a medical kit that was left behind here at a field hospital by a Confederate surgeon. Thomas Means treated men of Hood's division at the Plank Farm, which was along Willoughby's Run. There were hundreds of Confederates treated there. They ended up running out of supplies, and so the doctors had to cut into the backs of their kits and pull out the cotton to continue to plug wounds. And you can see on that artifact the slice mark where Dr. Means hit the cotton batting and was using it to treat wounded. Then on the right, another incredible piece. This might be my favorite in our collection. This is a sign that hung in the square of Gettysburg during the battle, obviously perforated by bullets, likely during the Union retreat through town on the evening of July 1st. William T. King was a local tailor. Like many, his shop was ransacked by the Confederates, and most of everything he had was taken away and destroyed. So this is kind of a testament to not only the danger of being in the town of Gettysburg during the battle, but also, the loss and, financially and otherwise of the local population, which is a really interesting story. Then we'll skip back in time again. This isn't as chronological as it should be, but on the left, this is a document actually filled out and signed by Francis Scott Key. Now, believe it or not, Francis Scott Key joined the bar in Adams County in the early 1800s. He was from Frederick County, Maryland, but he ended up coming back to Gettysburg in 1831 to set free one of his slaves. And this is the original manumission document from our collection, where he's setting free a slave named Clem Johnson at our courthouse in the center of Gettysburg in 1831. So another story you might not know, but really speaks to the how broad and deep our history here is in Adams County and in Gettysburg. And then on the right, I spoke a little earlier about Gettysburg becoming a town. This is a document from 1785 showing the original intersection where the square of Gettysburg would end up being developed. It's the intersection of two early roads where Samuel Geddes and later James Geddes had a tavern. And that would become the town of Gettysburg in 1786, when James Geddes laid out a town of 210 lots. and each lot was raffled off. We actually have the original animal hide map of the town of Gettysburg with all of the lot designations. So, another really impressive piece. This is our current home, the Wolf House. Some of you may have visited to do research, but really our struggle at this building is we don't have any room to do exhibits. So there's nowhere to display these incredible materials. And then worse yet, there's improper conditions. We don't have the climate control or the fire protection that we need to keep these materials safe. And, with a house like this, 3 floors packed with records, artifacts, photographs, we, live in fear of something really bad happening. And so that's why it is so important that we're able to build a new home for the Historical Society that you can come in and enjoy. And so, we'll be able to share all these materials and also ensure their safety.
As soon as you say that, Andrew, I think about the bucket brigade you spoke about just a few moments ago. It's like, oh, that would just be scary.
It is. Yeah, I know. It really, every day we're lucky to see that it's still there. And it's really amazing to me that the entire, cultural, intellectual, historical memory of our community is in such jeopardy. Gettysburg is such a famous place, and you'd never imagine that the entire history of the community is at risk, and it really is, and it's something we're not shying away from now. We need people to see the reality of the situation. We hope that all who see this and love and care about Gettysburg will help us to make sure that this vision is a reality. Here are a couple other photographs of our current storage. On the left, this is an attic of a building near us that we have additional storage in. Again, no climate control, no fire protection. And the records really need a better home. We're also the official county archives in Adams County, or actually I should say unofficial. There is no county archives. Instead, the records come to us and we keep them on permanent loan for the county. So that you'll see an example on the right. These are all the wills that were filed in Adams County all the way back to 1800. So we have James Getty's will, we have Eddie Plank, the famous baseball player, we have Dwight D. Eisenhower. A pretty impressive collection there, millions and millions of records. And then just one other shot. This is our warehouse that I mentioned. We have 22 crates filled with artifacts. They're 7 feet by 5 feet. They're packed away in storage, and we don't really know what's in them. So we are excited, and probably just as excited as you are, to unpack them and see what kind of incredible Gettysburg and Adams County items are waiting for us. So this is an example. Now, I do want to talk for a minute about what actually we will be doing and where this new facility will be. We're going to start construction next year. Our plan is to start in the spring and continue. We're going to build the structure in 2 phases. There's actually a back building called the Artifact Storage Facility you can see on this map, and that will allow us to take all of those items out of the crates, put them into this climate controlled facility, and then build the larger structure. So the plan is to start that smaller structure and have it done by around next summer, and then the big building will be started. The groundbreaking should be over the summer, this coming summer, and that'll take about a year. So we're really thrilled to be able to do this. The facility will be located just north of town, kind of on the edge of Barlow Knoll. So if that gives you perspective, it's on the Biglerville Road and just a little bit north of the borough limits in Cumberland Township. Now, just to get into briefly what this building will consist of and what you'll be able to come and see, we are planning on doing a pretty large exhibit gallery on the first floor, and that'll take you through, as I said, everything from dinosaur footprints to the Eisenhower era and beyond that, with a heavy emphasis, of course, on the Battle of Gettysburg. So this will be told by from the perspective of area citizens, their incredible reminiscences of all these events, and then it'll be complemented by really fascinating artifacts from our collection. So if you like artifacts, photographs, and good stories, this will be a really great experience for you. We also have a classroom built in so that we can bring in the local schools and encourage young people to study and appreciate our local history, which is really important to me as a young person. Then the second floor of the facility, we will have a large space for research. So if you're interested in learning more about Gettysburg or Adams County, or if you have an ancestor that served in the Civil War and fought at Gettysburg, we're going to have a research room that is built for you, so you can come in and discover all these wonderful stories. So that's number 32 on this map. And 33 is a large climate-controlled space for our collection. It'll be the first time our collection's ever been in climate-controlled storage. So we're thrilled to have it accessible, open, and safe. And then finally, the last component of the building, number 27, we're going to have a large event and program area so that we can do frequent lectures and book signings and seminars and classes about Adams County history, but with a real heavy emphasis on Gettysburg and the 300 years of our story in this wonderful community. And that space actually looks off onto the battlefield. So there's a wonderful view of Barlow Knoll. So it's a thrilling project for us, and without further ado, let me show you the the rendering of the building. We've done something very in character with the surrounding landscape, so it'll appear like a Civil War era house and barn. So we're very happy to have the support of the National Park Service with this project, and we're fortunate to have other great partners like the American Battlefield Trust that will be working with on programs and other initiatives at this new facility.
It looks fantastic and super exciting.
Yeah, it'll be a real pleasure to do this, not just for the community, but there's so many people. I'm sure you might be listening to this. Somebody who loves Gettysburg and who loves visiting here and exploring the battlefield. And I think what we're most looking forward to is creating something that a lifelong resident will appreciate the same way that somebody will appreciate who has a passion for Gettysburg and maybe lives across the country. So it's very exciting, and we just premiered our capital campaign launch video. So I hope you'll check that out. It's on our YouTube page and also on our Facebook page. And we had some wonderful endorsements from Ken Burns, Stephen Lang, Jeff Shera, and other wonderful historians and public figures who feel that this project is really important. So it's wonderful to have such a great team of people working on this. And I'm so happy that there are so many wonderful, generous people out there who care about us and about this project.
One thing I'll just make an observation as a quick armchair general. One of the things I really like about this is the phases where you're really concentrating on that safety issue that you talked about and getting that back building done, getting everything preserved, conserved, taken care of, and then opening that up with the second phase in the larger building and really sharing what is a wonderful, wonderful collection. Is there going to be like a special exhibit gallery where Tim Smith will be on display for people who want to come and see him? He
might be. I think he wants to be stuffed and put in the museum at some point. But so, yeah, actually, this is the first time I've talked about this, but Tim Smith is the principal writer and historian for the Historical Society, and you may know his many books about Gettysburg. He is writing our new museum. So it'll be a Tim Smith experience, starting with dinosaurs, which he actually is a big dinosaur buff, believe it or not. So we've had to talk him down in terms of the amount of space we take up on the dinosaurs. But Tim's writing the gallery, and we'll be kind of rolling out more information about that as we progress. But it'll be a wonderful experience, and Tim is going to be our full-time education director at this facility as well. So it'll be a lot of fun. And I should point out, this is another thing, we have not said anything about this yet, but I'm sure your viewers will find this interesting. Our first temporary exhibit, we will have a temporary gallery, and the first temporary exhibit will be a rare look at original items from the William Frasnito photographic collection. And those are items, they've never been on display before. We're working with Bill right now to put together a really unique exhibit. There will be an original image of the procession to the National Cemetery on November 19th, 1863. Bill believes Lincoln is in it. I think he has pretty good evidence. And if you've read his book, Early Photography at Gettysburg, you might know the image. But we will be putting that original image on display for the first time, along with some really other impressive materials. So when you first visit the facility, I hope you'll take some time to check that out.
That sounds like a fantastic way to make a splash quick with a really cool and sexy exhibit. Wow.
Yeah. It is. It's great.
So what's next in the process?
Sure. Yeah. Well, we are planning to start construction in the spring. We hope we'll begin moving dirt out there in March or April. And so in the meantime, if you have a chance to check out our website, we really could use help in these next few weeks before the new year to continue to fundraise for this project. Gifts of any size go a long way to help us we need every dollar to make sure that this project is successful. We're really eager to broaden this and have it be not just a local effort, but a national effort. So that's something that you can do to help in the short term. Also, I hope you'll check out our Facebook page and our website. We post all the time on our Facebook page. We have about 22,000 followers. So I hope you'll check that out. And if you haven't already looked at it, we have a weekly program series on our Facebook page, a weekly live program every Thursday night at 7 p.m. I hope you'll take a moment to check that out as well. And we're just so fortunate to have so many friends around the country who care about Gettysburg and our history in Adams County.
Wonderful. Well, Andrew, I know that that's a lot of effort to move dirt and move people and move resources. So you're going to have your hands full, but I suspect you're up for that challenge.
Thank you. I really appreciate that. And we're very happy to share the project now. We've been working on it quietly for about 1.5 years. So to be able to talk about it and release some of these details and hear your input is just wonderful. So if anyone has any questions for us about the project, I'm extremely open to questions and emails. So you can find my email on the Historical Society page. If you have any questions about the project or want to learn more, please reach out to me. I would love to hear from you. So, and thanks, Chris, for this opportunity to speak to the emerging Civil War audience. This is a really wonderful opportunity for us.
It's been a real treat to have you with us today. We'll have some links on the YouTube page for people to connect with the Adams County Historical Society. We'll have information on the blog. So if you're interested in connecting with them that way, we're going to make sure that you get plugged into those resources with the Adams County Historical Society. Andrew Dalton, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thanks, Chris.
Good luck.